Alright, welcome back to some more TNT Championship Season 1 2024 action. I'm Delphius, and we have got a hell of a match here. Mishi versus Melvinfro, Competitive League, Group A. Could easily be the grand finals of this event. Melvinfro is the current reigning champion, won last season. And Mishi is my personal pick for greatest of all time player. Has won several events himself over the years. And yeah, let's get into this. It's going to be a best of 5. And now I'm curious, I don't know exactly how the quarterfinals are going to break. But I mean, spoiler alert, Melvin and Mishi are probably going to win Group A, right? I mean, come on. So I'm curious when they make it to the quarterfinals, like, are they on the other side of the brackets? And like maybe this will be the grand finals, or are they just going to immediately play each other? We'll see. Alright, let's get into it. Game number 1. Spawning in the bottom, we've got Mishi rocking a lizard ferret balloon strategy, and in the top right's Melvinfro. Now, Melvin played against me with this deck, and it is a pretty solid one, so I feel like Melvin is definitely more of the player that might just kind of run the same comp every game, where Mishi is definitely going to be the one changing it up. We'll see if I'm correct, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Melvin continued to run this deck. It is really solid all game long. The only disadvantage, I think, is just the lack of an additional tier 1. Again, not really counting pigeons, and Melvin going to start things off spicy, though, with a 5-farm Warren. Melvin does see it, or I'm sorry, Mishi sees it, can respond to the 6-farm Warren, and goes ahead and does so. Melvin's Squirrel being blocked, though, by the Q. That is intentional, so Melvin not actually looking to move across the map. Just wants to make sure Mishi respects him, maybe throw Mishi off a little bit on the build order. So we'll see how this one shakes out. Weird map. Super weird map. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, do you try to do a one-base game? Mishi says no. Actually, this is really good for Mishi the more I'm looking at this. Like, oh my gosh. Like, Mishi can just put a balloon right here on this ledge, can poke with the ferrets. How do you even attack this position? You gotta go right through this little tiny thing. This is a nightmare for Melvin. You know, talk about... See, this is the kind of thing that just makes me mad sometimes. Like, it's like, oh, you just happen to have ferret balloon on this perfect map to have ferret balloon on. But to be fair, Mishi is pretty known for his ferret play, so I don't think you can really make that argument against Mishi. And tier 2 from both sides, pretty even so far. A few tier 1 Warrens, getting into those second base. You know, Melvin's not going to expect the ferret. I know, it is Mishi. Mishi is one of the people that use it, but not a popular tier 2. Here comes a balloon. And Melvin does see it. So, one thing to consider is that the balloon actually gives more vision. So ferrets have more range than they have vision. So with the extra vision from the balloon, can this ferret actually shoot the mill, which is what Mishi is hoping? And the answer is no. Unfortunate for Mishi. So, Melvin's actual mills are not within ferret range. So Melvin is quite aware of what's happening here. Falcons are a good call. They can help mitigate the problem of this choke point, this ledge. Melvin gets a good surround, but his units being distracted by that campfire is a little bit rough. This could still work out okay for Melvin, though. Falcons are generally better than ferrets in a direct engagement like this. Mishi is able to clean him up, though, and keeps the ferrets alive. Mishi pushing forward. Maybe Melvin should have waited for, like, double Falcon or something? That's a dead pig. Mishi gonna continue the pressure on, and this might just be a Mishi victory. One ferret does go down, but a lot of damage has already happened, and This is what's so wild to me about like the fact that Mishi has 3 farms on top of all this stuff is just like mind-boggling. All right, now the concave convex situation, this rough choke point, a little bit of disadvantage for Mishi on that attack. Melvinfro though is not out of the game. If he can manage to continue to grow his army, to not take too much damage from these ferrets, take some good engagements like this, gets a ferret, gets several squirrels, loses a couple squirrels in the process, but the problem is that Mishi is like miles ahead on economy. Oh, I missed it. I missed the space over here too. I was looking at the farm counts, and yeah, look at that. Okay, so Melvinfro is gonna come back in economy very soon. Mishi, none the wiser on the ninja base. Look at this. This is beautiful play. This is really what makes a high-level player, in my opinion. Like, they always just somehow are able to, like, eco up while doing all this other stuff. Owl on the way for Melvin. Okay, Mishi knows something's got to be up. Good due diligence scout here for Mishi. Mishi never scouted the very top of the map, though. Doesn't even know there's a mill there. Mishi will see the owl. So Mishi knows everything but the ninja. And Melvin is about to just be to the moon with his economy. Double owl even on the way. Mishi does need to have a good push here. And his army looks mean. But honestly, like, Melvin could lose this mill and be fine. When he starts hemorrhaging warrens, now we got a problem, but I don't know, maybe the second owl is too much. Melvin really needs to sell one of those warrens, and yeah, maybe Mishi just pushes through. I think the owls were just a bit too greedy on top of the fully saturated base. You know, I think if maybe he just kept going tier 1, he would have been okay. Mishi, amazing ninja, even full del. Dude, I know, like, I did not see it. I was not paying attention. Yeah, Mishi never even found it, but Mishi kind of shoulder checked him after he saw the tier 3 Warren. And Melvin going for that double owl, I think, was his demise, although the single owl was also a stretch there. Oh, whoops. I did the scoreboard wrong. 1 second. Melvinfro did not win that game. Mishi did. There we go. Okay. Game number 2. On the right-hand side, Melvinfro, same deck as last time. And over on the left, Mishi. Is Mishi using the exact same thing? I feel like something's a little different, but I can't quite tell. I know he had lizard. Maybe he's got moles this time and didn't last time. I don't know. It's either he's got it's either moles or it's the same. I'm not quite sure. I think he had snakes last time. I don't think he had falcons either. But again, this is what I would expect from these players. I think Melvin is going to use the same deck, and Mishi's going to be changing things up. Not a bad idea to use the same deck, by the way. I mean, the downside is, obviously, your opponent can start getting a read on what you're doing, but Melvin's not really running any units that are super counterable anyways. Like, maybe you run snakes, you know? But just because you have the same deck, you can have a lot of different build orders, and you can play the games completely differently. So, keep that in mind. It's not like Melvin's going for the same strategy. This really hurts Mishi. He's trying to be a little sneaky. I think Mishi's not aware that you can burrow to it, because it is the new patch. So, unfortunate there for Mishi. Melvin did catch his mole. I mean, look at that little perfect spot for a mole warren. Had to try it. This is gonna be a macro game, it looks like. I mean, it's a pretty wild map. Both players have pretty decent access to 3 bases. Obviously, it favors Melvin in the ultra super mega late game, but that never really happens. Well, I say that, and these are definitely the type of players that can run a map dry. But you know, who knows? Mishi could even actually claim this area with balloons and stuff. I don't know if we're going to get that wild of a macro game. Melvin and Mishi are both players that would absolutely love to go right up to 16 farms if given the opportunity, so we'll see if either one really wants to slow the economies down or if they're going to do the gentleman agreement and go right up to full macro on 2 bases, as they are so inclined to do. Looks like that's going to be the plan. Mishi's going to come in and see Melvin, building all those farms, say, that looks fun, let me do that as well. Mishi keeping the mole warren. Just as part of the composition. You know, get a mix couple moles in there, frontline tanks. Alright, Mishi threatening an attack, but it's just a feint. Gonna back up. Think he was just trying to force Melvin to maybe sell a farm. And Ferret's on the way here for Mishi. Melvinfro gonna come in, gonna see the fully saturated second, gonna see the tier 2 Warren. It does not. Should see there. There it is. Knows exactly what's up. Meanwhile, Mishi also sees several tier 1 Warrens and a fully saturated second. Double skunk out of Melvin. Great idea. Especially against Mishi, who is prone to do things like mix in ferrets, which in the direct engagement, you know, are not going to be as good. Melvinfro building up to a really solid mid-game composition here. Throw in a few pigeons, maybe. And it looks like he's ready to rock and roll. We'll see if we're going to get 2 base push or anything. I mean, the ferrets, to me, they're definitely like a unit you want to be active with. You know, they're not going to scale as well as some of the other units, so if Mishi can get a forward balloon out of his new territory, you'd love to see it. I don't know if he's going to quite get to this patch of dirt, though, in the middle of the screen. He wants to. Look, he's setting up right here. He's going to use the Falcons anyways. I'm going to try to abuse this ledge. The skunks, though, are going to be fantastic for Melvin. No skunks here for Mishi. Mishi just going full throttle on those Falcons. Got the third base up and running. And Mishi going to try to find a better angle. Melvinfro is out of position right now, though, scouting around. He should see all the units are gone, though, and scamper back to base in a hurry. Badger on the way for Melvin as well. Gonna be sold immediately, though. Mishi's just gonna target down the mill. Not gonna quite get it in time. Oh, yeah, he will. Melvin needs to win this fight. Losing that mill is not the end of the world. It's kind of starting to get on its way out anyways, but Melvin needs to return the favor by dealing damage. Now, Mishi is miles ahead in economy now, though. That was pretty much 4 farms that just went down. Now, granted, those farms weren't going to last too much longer, but still, income right here, right now, is way ahead for Mishi. Melvin, however, did get some solid punches off. And Mishi is scrambling to rebuild an army. Melvin is poised to deal maybe even game-ending damage here as he comes up onto Mishi's shores of the third base. Mishi's army trying to do what they can, but just not enough. Mishi's going to tap out right there. GG. Series tied up 1-1. That's a very common way to lose a game in Tooth and Tail. Mishi got the damage. Mishi won the battle, but Melvin won the war, right? Like, Mishi got some critical damage done, but lost too much of the army in the process. That's the way she goes, bud. Alright, let's get into a match number 3 here between Melvinfro and Mishi. In the bottom, we've got Melvinfro, same deck. And over in the left, Mishi, rocking the Fox. Let's go. Would love to see it. Like, I think Melvin's just got the better late game comp. As much of a fanboy of Fox I am, like, I love the Fox. I love the concept of a Fox, the high skill, high reward kind of play, but you know, the Fox is not designed for the late game. The Fox is designed for scrappy games where somehow you manage to get a tier 3 out, right? And then now you can just, you know, run circles around your opponent, picking him off to death. That's what the Fox wants to do. The Fox is not going to be able to do anything against the Skunk, Falcon, Badger, Owl army. However, Mishi does have Skunk, Falcon, Snake, and Pigeon, so Mishi can get into the late game, but I think Melvin's going to have that better late game. So, actually a 7-farm Warren from Melvin this time around. Mishi did scout it, but he doesn't seem to care. I'm surprised he even went mill first. I don't know, maybe I missed something in the early game thinking about the compositions. So Melvin will take the mill. Mishi taking the not as obvious mill. This is a really weird map too, man. Sometimes the map gen is just so odd. This is a path right here. It's a 1-tile path though, because that is a ledge. So in theory, they could attack one another this way, but that's a great choke for either side to defend with their skunks. And then other than that, you know, maybe we're going to see engagements right here between the second bases. Again, also kind of awkward. Big lake right here. Some double high ground. Both players, again, wanting to macro up. Melvin's actually moving across the map. Mishi being a little too greedy, maybe. Getting into that tier 2. Only 3 squirrels to his name right now, though. Melvin trying to take advantage of that. That skunk is not going to be up in time. This is a little bad for Mishi. Gonna have to lead off a couple pigs here. Maybe this will be a quick win for Melvin. Gets a lot of damage done. I think Mishi can clean this up from here. 2 pigs go down. Mishi not super happy about that, but now the skunks are here, so should just be fine moving forward. Curious if Mishi's going to rebuild the pigs here, or why rebuilding there over just putting him at the natural. Maybe just because, like, time. Like, I just want to throw down a pig and push. Mishi looking for a counterattack here. Knows he's got the tech advantage. Thinks better of it, though, and heads home. Well, never mind. Just heading into their own territory to throw down another Warren. And pedal to the metal is Mishi here. Coming in. Lots of squirrels trying to defend. Skunk's getting some good gas out. Melvinfro's commander goes down. Absolutely brutal, but the squirrels kind of do pretty good on their own anyways. End up taking out a skunk. I don't think this push for Mishi works. He's going to have to run home. A lot of these squirrels still managing to stay alive through the gas. And this game is looking good for Melvin. Melvin feeling confident, even throws down a badger. And says he's going to end this game the intended way. With high-tech units. This is a really good chance for Mishi. Melvin's got a lot of money bundled up in that badger right now. That's a long-term investment, though. Not food for the boots on the ground right here, right now. Where Mishi is knocking on the front door. Good micro from Mishi there. Those pigeons really paying off in dividends here. Keeping those skunks alive and healthy on the main front lines. Mishi really trying to get those skunks, but can't quite make it happen. 6 pigeons here from both sides. And Melvin holds, which is exactly what he wants, because he's got the badger. Doesn't have badger money. He needs to sell down some tier 1s, but he's very happy to do so. And this is not looking good for Mishi. Mishi is not aware of the badger. Going into some falcons anyways, but Mishi really needs a snake. You know, these follow-up attacks have not been able to work with Melvin's defender's advantage. And Melvin having generally better income for a long time after killing those pigs early on. Mishi is not going to be happy when he sees this badger. This is those sorts of situations where if I'm playing and I'm Mishi, I'm just like, how? How did you have a badger? And you defended my attacks that well. At the same time. And honestly, the answer to that is skunks and pigeons are really good at defending. And look at the income graph. All that extra blue, that is Melvin's badger. You can see the army values skyrocket. The big bad badger is here, and Mishi has one last chance. 4 falcons ready to go. Maybe Mishi can take a good fight. Positioning in this game really matters. 3 falcons left for Mishi. The badger's got its rev, though, and it's just going to slam through with so much pigeon healing and wins Melvinfro game number 3. Alright, match number 4 here. Mishi on his last life against Melvinfro in this series. Let's see if Mishi can tie it up 2-2. Or if Melvinfro will take a 3-1 victory. Over on the right-hand side, same deck, different map. Melvinfro. Top left, Mishi. Going back to his roots. Lizard, ferret, fox, balloon. This could work. Maybe this mill can give enough territory to get like a balloon here. Fairly even map. Both sides have access to plenty of mills. Seems fine. Nothing super awkward for both sides. A little bit of an abusable ledge here for Melvin, but at the same time, if Melvin's able to get his units right here, like, Mishi should really be able to contest that. That's like right on the front lines. If anything, this is better for Mishi, I think. Being able to attack down the high ground onto the main. So, I think map gen is just fine for both players. Really, really short rush distance, so I don't think we're going to be a tier 3 game, or a large eco game, I should say, which is kind of what Mishi wants. A lot of Mishi's deck compositions, they're not cheese or anything like that, but it is aggressive, it is kind of mid-game centric. You know, Mishi does not want to sit around and build a giant death ball. He wants to be active. He wants to try to make plays. Meanwhile, Melvin, I think's more wanting to get that death ball. Just wants to get that ultimate army put together. Assemble Tron and be unstoppable. So, a couple warrens, couple mills coming out. And 2 immediate farms here for Mishi. And Melvin gonna match suits. So what I'm curious about now is how hard are we going on farms? Again, both players would love to just go right up to 16. 16 is a good number. And generally speaking, most high-level players want to macro up. And they are only not going to macro if you are forcing them to not macro. But most of the time, you're not going to win that. They will kind of know the right amount of farms to defend your shenanigans and be ahead on economy. So it's generally more of a gamble to play that way anyways. I mean, attacking in Tooth and Tail can be hard and weird. And sometimes compositions and armies like don't quite trade the way you think they should. So here come the ferrets. And Mishi placing another warren quite aggressively. So Mishi just wants to smack a balloon right up here too. These warrens are kind of like extra armor for the balloon in a way. And of course this shorter rush distance, so Melvin knows what's up. This is such a good spot for a ferret. I think Mishi has a really good chance in this game. I would like to see some lizards mixed in, yeah, and Mishi's gonna start doing that as well. Does a balloon trigger a move out from Melvin? It sure does. But it's gonna be too late. And Mishi's got plenty here to defend. Alright, Mishi looking to get the poke on. Takes the engagement. Melvin trying to take this fight as far away from the balloon as possible. The balloon is still getting some damage in. But again, the ferrets are just not the best unit in direct fights. You know, the Falcon's really kind of outclassing them there. Melvin is able to punch through and get that balloon. And so many Squirrel Warrens for Melvin. Mishi's really committed to this spot. Like, he can't back up and try to go into another strategy. Like, he's got to make this work. And I don't think it is. Like, the Falcons are still in the sky. The fact that the balloon went down. GG, there you have it. Melvinfro stopping the ferret balloon rush with Falcon Swirl and gonna take the series 3-1.